we're out here. This is the field where the magic happens.
Benning Bites with Damon Benning. Benning Bites with Damon Benning.
Another episode of Benning Bites. Appreciate you being a part of what we do. Sponsored by Underdog Fantasy Sports. Listen, you like competitive sports. I love competitive sports. Daily fantasy sports. Underdog Fantasy's got you covered. It's a pretty slick app, which, for a guy like me, makes it pretty easy. You can visit the website, too, at underdogfantasysports.com. Or when you do it, or should I say, and when you do it, make sure you enter the promo code Benning. So we appreciate that. A little higher, a little lower. Getting better, too. A little biased, but I like the fact that they've got a ton of sports, from NHL to college football to the NFL to the NBA, all over the place with your expertise. Fantastic show this morning. Got a little spirited, very spirited. A little Mick Cronin, if you will. But, hey, there's no more I can do. I mean, I'm good. I'm 50. Accomplished everything I need to in radio. No, I'm just kidding. Didn't want to go all Mick Cronin on you. But, yeah, go back and listen. Appreciate you fine folks being a part of what we do. ESPN 590, Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln after 9 o'clock, Google, YouTube, X, Twitch, Facebook, all of it. So we appreciate your support. And some interesting stuff came up today, and one in particular I'm going to need some help with tomorrow. Ravi threw me for a loop, as he can so often do, and even when I was doing a poor job at my job telling Michael Bruntz, our interviewee, what I wanted his answer to be, it got me thinking. My question to Bruntz was, we were talking about the transfer portal and how can Nebraska still be this developmental program, and this was on the heels of Ravi the last couple of days being firm and consistent with not so sure where the narrative came that you can use the transfer portal and not still develop guys. And he kind of did all this research and had evidence on why he thinks Nebraska still wants to be a developmental program. And for the record, I completely agree with him in terms of his approach and his philosophy on that. And so I asked Bruntz, I said, we talk about guys in development in the portal. Why don't we talk about guys that are currently on the roster and who I would love to see develop even further? And I started with, you typically don't start with one of your better players, but I said, gosh, can you imagine, Dylan Raiola, who's already pretty good in like this elite level peak physical condition and continuing to sharpen the mechanics with Coach Holgerson and Coach Thomas and those guys, where if he next leveled. And that's kind of what I wanted Bruntz's answer to be. And so he kind of entertained the idea, and he's like, well, but then we got all these, what about other guys that were on the roster? We got some Riley Van Poppels, and Ravi brought up Judy, and somebody else brought up Heinrich Harburg, and then Ravi brought up Keona Davis, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, this is getting really interesting now. And this is kind of where I want your guys' sentiments tomorrow. And this is on the heels of what Coach Rhule talks about when he says, so often we talk about who's not here. Let's talk about who is here. So as we're kind of deducing the portal, and will he bring in 14 or 15 or 20, and is there this great philosophical shift from developmental to win now, and can the two coexist, or is it mutually exclusive? All these things that us talking heads like to get into when we want to promote narratives. It's what if we started at home? What if we started right in our very own backyard of guys on the roster? And are there those next level if they develop guys, right? Is it a Keona Davis? Is it a RVP? What if it is Dylan? Bruntz brought up Emmett Johnson, and I thought, hey, oh my gosh, I never thought of EJ. Could a 12 to 15 to touch guy be as effective going to a 20 to 22 touch guy? Is there another guy in that running back room where if they develop, then you could fill in the blank. And it was fascinating. So I'll be curious to get your thoughts. Instead of focusing on who's coming and what we don't have, what happens if we got better at what we do have, and where would you start? And who would you start with? It's another episode of Benning Bites.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.